everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name's Christina and today I'm going to be ranking all of my primers. So I've done a couple of these videos previously. I've done my foundations, my eyeshadow palettes, and basically I just take that entire part from my collection and then I rank all of the items based on my favorite to my least favorite, and typically I start with my least favorite. So that's what we're going to do again today. My primer collection is one of the smaller ones in my collection, but I do like primers for the most part. I'm kind of on the fence on them. Sometimes, like in my foundation frenzy videos, I realize that like my foundation really doesn't look any different with or without a primer sometimes. So I'm kind of on the fence on whether or not primers actually do anything. The only ones that I can like visibly see a difference with for the most part are pore filling primers, because I do have large pores like on this part of my face. So like I can tell the difference with those, but otherwise I don't really notice a difference. So I feel like that's why my primer collection is so small now. It's like I love trying new primers, but like I'm really not convinced they do anything. Now before I jump into my primers, definitely make sure to hit that subscribe button because I do upload every single day, Monday through Friday. Definitely make sure to hit the bell notification just so you know when I actually upload, because they do go up at random times. And now let's just hop into my primers. So like I said, I am going to be starting out with my least favorite primer. I think in my collection I have 8 primers, so this is going to be a relatively quick video for the most part, unless I talk a lot, which is definitely a possibility. But I will start with my least favorite primer. So my least favorite primer is actually a sample. It's the Milk Blur Stick. I've only used this a couple times, and you can tell there's not a lot of product in this. It's just a sample size, and I don't dislike it. I don't think it does anything horribly bad. It doesn't break me out. It doesn't really, it definitely does what it's supposed to. It fills my pores. I'm just not that interested in pore filling primers anymore because I feel like now that my skin has gotten a little bit more dry, the pore filling primers tend to lean kind of dry just in formula, and it makes your skin kind of look more textured, which is one of my major issues with my skin is texture. And I don't feel like my pores are bad enough now to where it like really bothers me. I feel like I've found foundations that don't sink into my pores, and I think my pores overall just look better, so it really doesn't bother me as much. So that's the reason why this is at the bottom. Not that it's a bad formula, I just don't think it's anything that I tend to gravitate towards anymore. I used to be really into pore filling primers, but I think I've just kind of strayed away from it. The next primer is another one that I think will actually surprise people. I'm actually wearing it on my face today because it is in a project pan, and this used to be one of my all-time favorite primers. But like I said, I feel like my desire for my skin has changed a little bit, and while I used to really like filling in my pores, and it didn't bother me, my skin again has just gotten more dry, and I feel like it's a little harder to work with these primers. And so the next one is my Revlon Photoready primer. And again, if you've been watching my channel for a while, this used to be one of my all-time favorite primers, like ever. Like I was so sad when I went cruelty-free because I was going to use this up, obviously, because it's not cruelty-free. But now that I've been using it in my project pan, I find that I really don't care for it that much. It's not bad. I'm not saying it's bad. I feel like all of the primers that I have I actually do enjoy for the most part. It's just in general, I just don't want pore filling primers as much anymore. Well, I'm sad I'll be finishing this up because it does do what it's supposed to. It really does fill in your pores and it looks beautiful. It does have a little bit of a drier formula, so if you put it too much all over your face, it can emphasize texture. Luckily with this, I just put it right here on my face where there's no texture on my face there, and it does such a beautiful job actually filling in your pores. I also find this really helps if you get oily around your nose, like around your nostrils like I do, because I am leaning a little bit more combo here lately. This also has helped diminish the oil production, so it definitely is a good product to have if you have those issues. I just don't find that I'm as in love with this as I used to be. Next primer is down at the bottom, again for the same reason, and it's the Touch in Sol Nude Poreblem. Now out of the other 2 pore filling primers that I have, this one I feel like is the least dry. I think this one is a lot heavier in silicone than the other 2 though, so it is a little bit more slippy, but because of that I feel like I have to use less product with this for it to do its job, and it doesn't emphasize my dryness as bad if I get it in areas that are a little bit more textured on my face. I do really like this, but I don't gravitate towards this for the same reason. So I'm not going to try and beat a dead horse about this. If it's a pore filling primer, I've just kind of strayed away from it, and so that's why it's ranked pretty low. But out of the other 2, this is my favorite out of all of them, just because it just does a good job. I really like this. Next product is another silicone based primer, and I think it's supposed to, this one isn't technically a pore filling. This is really high in silicone, but this is supposed to like create a really smooth base, and I actually find that it does a really good job with it if you don't go overboard. I find if you do go overboard with this primer, it can have your foundation just like slip right off your face. And that's the Ordinary High Adherence Silicone Primer. I have to be careful with silicone primers because again, I kind of go overboard with them sometimes, and sometimes they just don't work well with a lot of my foundations since I tend to go for water-based foundations more often than silicone-based foundations. So I do have to be a little careful with this, but this is a very good primer. As you can see, I've used up a lot of it, and I plan on finishing this at some point. It's affordable, it's good, it's the Ordinary, so I mean, like, I think this was $5, really wasn't that bad at all. And overall, I think it does a really good job of what it says it's gonna do. It says it's supposed to blur and smooth, and I really think it does that. I think when I wear this, I can tell a big difference around my pores. Like I said, I have pores like on this part of my face, and so when I use primers like this, I can actually tell the difference, which again is why I still own them. They're not exactly what I go for as much anymore, but they still work when I do want those like blurred days. And this is just a good one, and again, like I said, it's affordable, so it's like right in the middle of all of my primers, so it's like the median range. Wow, I had less primers than I thought. I only have 3 left, but all of these are basically hydrating primers because again, I have dry to combo skin, so this is kind of what I lean for. This is the top 3. I can't believe I have that little amount of primers. I thought I had more, but my top 3, number 3 is the Jk H2o Primer. You guys have seen me use this so much. This is basically just a really watery moisturizer. I don't necessarily think this helps your foundation look any better or stay on your face any longer, but if you have dry skin, this feels so good before you put on foundation because it gives you another boost of moisture right before foundation. This I really like during like the winter and late in the fall because my skin starts to get very dry. The kind of dry that, like, you know, like when you wash your face with a bar of soap and it kind of like strips your skin and it feels tight? Yeah, that's what my face feels like all through fall and winter. So this really helps because it's so uncomfortable to have your skin feeling like that. So I always put this on right before foundation. I let it sink in for a while, and it just gives me that extra boosted hydration that I really, really need before any foundation, even a dewy foundation. If my skin feels gross and tight underneath, I just don't want to put anything else on it. So I love this. Again, it's affordable because it's JK. I really like this. I'm actually almost out of it, I believe. I'm only like down to right here. So this will be in an empties probably coming up at some point this year. And I'm kind of sad about it, but it is what it is. Top 2 is actually a primer I'm wearing today, and I know it could be something else. It could be more skincare, but it also says it's a primer or a prime something. So I've been using it as a primer, and honestly, I think it works really well for it. And it's the No Poreblem Prime Essence. So it's technically an essence oil, which should be just used in your skincare, but I mean, I use an essence in my skincare too, but I like to do this right before foundation. It's kind of the same thing as the JK one. This just gives me an extra boost of hydration. And what I like this for, you guys know I have a lot of texture right here on my jawline. Don't know why, but I do have a lot of texture right in here. So I like to take this on my fingertips, rub it together, and then pat it into those texture areas, and it helps so much diminish that texture because no matter how much I exfoliate, for some reason it's like my skin is textured there. It's really bizarre looking in some foundations. So I really like this because it seems to prime that area a lot better, and again gives it an extra boost of moisture. This is also one that I like to put on underneath other primers, so like I could use this and then go in with this over top, and it's gonna give me a lot of moisture. So that's basically why these are up at the top, because with how dry my skin gets, that's really what I look for in my primers now, is to just kind of make my skin feel more supple, because otherwise it has that just nasty stripped feeling. And then my number 1 primer is actually one I don't think I've really ever mentioned on my channel before. I don't show it very often. I don't know why. It might be because it's a little expensive, but this is such a good primer, and I don't know why I haven't mentioned it. I'm pretty sure I may have mentioned it in a Get Ready With Me a while ago, but I haven't mentioned it since then, and it's seriously one of my favorites. Like, I don't want to run out of this one just because it always seems to help, and that's the Ole Henriksen Banana Bright Face Primer. But this was actually sent to me from Influencer like 5 months ago. It was sometime at the beginning of the year. It was a while ago. And at first I didn't use it because I was like, I'm not sure about primers. And then I busted out and used it, and guys, one, it smells amazing. Like, it smells almost like orange creamsicle ice cream, which is one of my favorite ice creams of all time, by the way. I have a box of creamsicles in my refrigerator. not in my refrigerator. I have a box of creamsicles in my freezer right now because they're one of my favorites. This literally moisturizes your skin, brightens your skin. It has vitamin C in it, which is just really good for your skin. I have like way too many vitamin C products in my arsenal. I have 2 vitamin C serums, a vitamin C overnight mask, and I have this, which has vitamin C in it. It's almost like I can really tell when I've used this because it really does give your skin like an added boost. And again, like I said, when this was sent to me, I was really hesitant. I was like, I'm not gonna like that. Like, I'm not that interested. And then I used it and I was like, oh, never mind. I love it. I've even used this on days where I don't wear makeup because it just gives your skin a nice glow to it without being shimmery. So like, you guys know I like the Hollywood Flawless filter from Charlotte Tilbury because it gives you like a nice glow to the skin. This gives you like I just woke up and my skin looks amazing kind of glow. Like, there's no shimmers to it. It just like plumps your skin and makes it just look so glowy, like you just had like the most amazing vacation. I don't know, it's so good. And like I said at the beginning of this video, I'm really not sure if primers do much, but this primer actually does something for my skin at least, and I love it. It's definitely my favorite. Packaging wise, it's really nice. It has a pump. There's a full fluid ounce in this. It's just really nice. It smells good. It does what it's supposed to, and it's just nice. So that, guys, is all of my primers ranked from my least favorite to my most favorite. So I hope you guys liked this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up down below. Down in the comments, let me know what your favorite primer is and why it's your favorite, because I will probably add it to my let me try it list, because I have a very long list of items that I need to purchase and try for you guys, or try because of you guys. So definitely leave those down in the comments, and hopefully you hit that subscribe button, and I will see all of you guys in the next video. Bye!